Yo, just a heads up, this video is probably like really outdated and shit. Just bear that in mind when comparing the current version of the game to what's shown in the footage. Okay, bye!
Roblox is very near and dear to me. I joined the platform about 10 years ago now, just before R15 was added and tickets were removed. And for 10 years, I've loved it. It's always had its problems, it's always had its faults, and I've always had my grievances in one way or another when it came to the platform. But at the end of the day, I could always return, because Roblox was a platform that was confident in their identity, going so far as to claim that they were powering imagination. And by God, were they right. Roblox took over my life when I was a kid, and I remember thinking that it was the coolest thing on the planet. To some degree, I still do. A platform where anyone, even you, can make a game, all wrapped up in a neat package with toy-like avatars that acted as blank slates. Simple, but flexible. One look at those iconic avatars would always get you wondering, what can I do with you? But the platform that was once so confident in itself is now just another metaverse show. Their new slogan, reimagining how people come together, says it all. It's become a shell of its former self. I could have sat through that. I've sat through something like it before. But after the banning and suing of a literal hero, Schlep, and their half-hearted attempt at fixing their child safety issues by harvesting personal information and sending it to a company that was going to sell it or use it to train AI, I knew I had to leave. I wasn't going to sit there and give Roblox, a company notorious for data breaches and an overall unwillingness to protect the very users that made their platform in the first place, my personal information, just so I could talk, something that I was able to do for years beforehand. The place that once said that it was an online social hangout reduced to radio silence. There were husks where there should have been people, and to rub salt in the wound, they made it clear that they were willing to strip themselves of their identity just so a little green line can go up. They were willing to go even further, and endanger children for a green line. So, I searched, and wouldn't you know it, there was something just like Roblox out there. Something that made me remember why I loved the platform so much to begin with. And, if you were to ask me, a platform that has the potential to be so much more than a mere Roblox alternative. Polytoria is a platform very much like Roblox, even down to those blocky-looking avatars that Roblox has been neglecting to acknowledge, sort of like the bit-crushed elephant in the room. Don't have those here. Just like Roblox, you have a site filled with user-made games and a client that allows you to play those games. In every sense of the word, I wouldn't blame you for calling Polytoria something of a Roblox clone. The avatars alone make it clear that the Polytoria team is wearing their influences on their sleeves pretty blatantly. Despite the fact that it's been gaining a lot of traction as of late, Polytoria actually started up sometime in 2019, with a public beta being released sometime in 2020. As for why it suddenly gained traction, well, I think you already know that, considering you're likely a Roblox player if you found this video, and I think the intro made it pretty clear why I personally sought it out. And honestly, I'm glad I did. Despite there being a lot of hiccups over this past week, I can let it slide considering only 1 week ago there was only around 90,000 users. Now there's over 500,000, with there being a respectable amount of concurrent players given its size. Starting out with the site, I'd say it looks fairly nice. Your homepage is well organized, you have immediate access to your friends, recently played games, and feed encouraging the social aspect. And there's even a news tab from the Polytoria blog. You'll also find daily challenges and the like, but I don't really bother too much with those. Along the side, there's all of your main pages, such as your avatar customization tab, inventory, create tab, which I'll get into later, friends, inbox, trades, and rankings. On the above ribbon thing, look, just because I took web page design doesn't mean I'm good at it, no technical terms or no a third nonsensical thing to list that would make you double take. Either or, it has the places, store, guilds, and the Polytoria forum alongside a search bar, daily streak, bricks, the main currency, notifications, and a drop-down menu that has more private stuff. I'd honestly say that the website itself is fairly intuitive, albeit quite slow at times due to server limitations. And, start of a trend here, the games page especially reminds me a lot of Roblox's 2016 layout, complete with a genre tab, search bar, trending tab, and a download button for the Polytoria client, all tied together with a modern but fun design. It's right on that fine line between fun and sleek that feels really approachable. Backtracking a bit to character customization, and if you're familiar with Roblox, you'll be right at home here. There isn't really too much to note. You have your modeled accessories and tools, your faces, your different body parts, and they've even brought in 2D shirts and pants. There's a few other things too. You can save your outfit, change your body colors, and to top it all off, there's actually quite the variety of free stuff here. There's quite a few free faces on the market, as well as free clothing, and while your stock options are just basic colored shirts and visors, I think they're still quite a bit better than giving you fuck all. About the only problem I have with the customization here is the fact that it seems that the shirts have their textures break in the 3D avatar preview. It's an easy fix, just take off the shirt and put it back on, but it's still a little annoying. Just shows that the site still needs a little bit of work put into it. However, on the flip side, you can actually upload your own shirts and pants completely for free as far as I can tell. I've already made some in my spare time myself, and while it can be a little daunting, I overall appreciate the thought. Which leads me into how you actually go about getting items. Bricks. Just like pretty much every free online game, Polytoria has online purchases, the main currency of Polytoria being bricks. How do you get those? Well, obviously one method is by buying them with real-world money. I mean, they gotta put out the flames from the Great Robloxian Exodus somehow. But another method is just by logging in every day, sort of like ticks if anybody remembers those. You get 2 bricks a day, assuming you're going free to play. Ugh, that felt like a Dr. Seuss line, I must say. There's also Polytoria Plus and Plus Deluxe, which is pretty much the equivalent of Builders Club, now known as Roblox Premium. Plus nets you 35 daily login bricks, Deluxe nets you 80. Honestly, I'd say that they're fairly priced considering the other things you get out of Polytoria Plus and Deluxe, being around 6 USD a month and 12 USD a month respectively. You don't just get bricks out of it, you get a bunch of other benefits, like being able to upload meshes with Plus and the added bonus of free homepage themes with Deluxe. Really, I think it primarily serves as a way to support the development team, which is perfectly reasonable. The only downside being that they don't have regional pricing to my knowledge, which I do hope that the team manages to work out at some point should Polytoria keep growing. The other ways of getting bricks on the site is by either making a hit game, which is difficult, or by selling the clothing you make, albeit with a 15% sales tax, which is reduced for Plus and Deluxe members. Of course, all of this is making me sound like a stockholder only interested in how much ROI they can net while not actually being interested in the platform's goals, so let's talk about the gameplay itself. Now, while I can't quite do a review on Polytoria as a whole, that would mean playing literally every single game on the platform, and there's no way in hell that I'm doing that. What I can do is critique the Polytoria client, the program used to join games, and the creator program that lets you make games. Like I said earlier, the site is just one facet of the game, where you'll go to find places that other people make as well as interact with other users on the forum, among other things. In order to actually join said places, you'll need the Polytoria client, which will allow you to connect to their servers and play the game you joined. Probably don't need to explain that considering most of the people interested in Polytoria are Roblox players, but I figure it would be better that I do it for good measure. I suppose the best place to start would be one of the more unfortunate things about the client, as a little bit of a heads up. While the client does work, it tends to have connection issues. I can't tell you how many times I click the play button only to get denied connection to a server for whatever reason. Thankfully, there is something of a fix. Just scroll down, click on the servers tab, and join one that's open. It's a minor issue, but it can still be quite the annoyance. Now that we're actually in-game, I can tell you that if you've played Roblox, you'll be very familiar with how the game controls, minus the jump. While the controls are responsive, the jump feels a little bit floaty, which is the result of a lower default gravity setting in the creator program. It's not really too much of a problem, but it does feel rather strange coming from Roblox. I've seen some people complain about the controls here and there, but personally I've never had that much of a problem with how the game feels, save for the jump and the default climbing, which feels all kinds of slippery. There's also a built-in sprint mechanic, though not every game has one. Some have it disabled, others keep it and give you infinite stamina, and others leave it as is. I like the idea, but I do wonder if it wouldn't have been a better idea to just let players program their own sprinting mechanic. Though for those who don't know much Lua, the game's programming language, I'd say it's rather handy. About the only other problem I have with the controls is how mouse locking works. In Roblox, as you probably know, there's a way to lock your mouse called shift lock. It locks your mouse and character in place and makes it so you're able to just move your mouse to look around, your character turning alongside your camera. A similar effect being achieved by zooming in and going into first person mode. Polytoria has that, but the implementation is a little clunky. You can't just zoom in or press the right control key to lock your mouse in place. You have to right-click and then zoom in or press the control key. Not the end of the world, but it's still rather annoying. As for the client, while your mileage will vary depending on things like your hardware specs and your internet connection, I'd say that Polytoria's overall client experience is pretty solid, assuming Creepcraft doesn't attempt to stream Polytoria when you play. I still hear the voices. And speaking of the voices, the game has an okay chat filter. When the servers are exploding, you can fucking say any shit-ass swear that comes to your damn mind. Sorry, VivzyPop wrote that line. But setting server crashing live streamers and mass player migration aside, the filter is okay. Some particularly nasty things come through from time to time, but it's being worked on at the moment, and the Polytoria developers seem to really care about player safety and moderation. Not only did they recently put a temporary hold on registration to make sure that their infrastructure could handle the new surge of players suddenly online, but I said the fuck word and got smited immediately. Not a joke, peep the screenshot. Thankfully, the chat filter isn't nearly as notorious as a certain other game's chat filter, where it censors everything if you do so much as spell something one letter off, but it can be something of a concern when it comes to certain kinds of players. I'll applaud the Polytoria team's efforts in trying to actually keep their platform a safe space for kids, instead of forcing and hand them your personal information to get around needing to actually keep their platform safe. As for the visuals, I'm pretty sure Polytoria is based on the Unity game engine, so there's some pretty solid visual capabilities, and there's quite a few materials in the creator that you can use to make some pretty impressive looking games. While I find that Polytoria overall feels like 2015 to 2016 Roblox for those familiar, I can say with full confidence that it's shooting for a higher graphical fidelity than that era. As for the character models, they look... Oh, that's right, they recently changed them. Well, while I like the older avatars more because of how simplistic they were, the new ones are pretty solid too. I mean, I'd say they can be a little limiting proportionally. It would be nice to actually look up different body shapes instead of needing to check out someone's inventory, but overall, it's not like it's the end of the world. They decided to go with a new action figure-like style, which has grown on me over time. Though, unfortunately, there's currently no way to switch back to the original avatars. Any instance of the blockier avatars shown throughout this video are instances I recorded before the update. So as I was finishing up the editing of this video, the Polytoria team released a second new avatar, this time with a little bit more polish and thought. Overall, I actually quite like the new avatars, especially the action figure bundles which you're seeing right now. I have a lot more to say about Poly, but to keep it brief, I think the new avatar is very cute, very flexible. I was pleasantly surprised to see that the newfound lankiness wasn't that much of a problem, and the new animations are great. This is probably going to be a little outdated, but there were some issues with the avatar. A lot of clothing was busted, the seams on some shirts are broken, as you can see on my avatar's crop top. Her name's 26, by the way, just in case anyone's curious. But the walking animation needs some work. I think the wave animation could be a little bit more energetic. Same with the pointing animation. Needs a little bit more character, that's all. But overall, 8 out of 10 character redesign. Probably just needs to be polished a bit more to bump that score up to an 8.5, maybe a 9 if they do a particularly outstanding job. And overall, I'm glad to see them take steps to solidify their own identity. Keep it up, Polytoria team. Polytemia? Oh, whatever. The textures on them are also a little jank. Like, the clothing will actually go over particle effects for some reason, and light effects close a little differently, strangely enough. But those issues aside, I'd say that Polytoria is pretty alright visually, and I'm honestly sort of glad that they're trying to make their own visual identity. With that minor setback over with, the characters are also animated fairly well. There's a whole bunch of emotes that you can access via the chat. 2 dances, a sitting pose, and a few other things that tie it all together. The only animations that really bother me are the idle animation, which just kind of has your avatar slowly moving their arms up and down, and the running animation where your avatar's head just... yeah, weird. But overall, I think the game's stock animations are pretty solid, while also setting the tone for Polytoria as a whole, a little bit on the sillier side. And now it's time to actually focus on the game-making side of Polytoria, the creator program. Basically, it's Polytoria's equivalent to Roblox Studio for those familiar. Think of it sort of like the Godot or Unity game engine. This is what you'll use to make games or places, and honestly, for being such an integral part of Polytoria, I gotta admit that it's unfortunately rather clunky. Now, to be fair, the Polytoria team is hard at work on version 2.0 of the client and creator, ditching the Unity game engine altogether for the Godot game engine because Godot is cool and awesome, alongside, to my knowledge, recreating the client and creator program from the ground up. So I'm sure that in due time, everything I mentioned here will be fixed and improved upon. That said, in the creator application's current state, so many little quality of life things just aren't there. There's no shortcut to change between your tools, no way to resize or close windows, there's no dedicated tilt and rotate shortcut, meaning that you have to drag your mouse up to the toolbar, click the rotate tool, and then rotate it along whatever axis you want. It can be rather difficult to build with the primitive tools that they currently have, and that's really unfortunate for me to say. As much as I love what I'm seeing with Polytoria so far, it's honestly a shame that the creator aspect of things just aren't quite up to expectations. The current version of the creator almost feels like a beta with its menus and less than seller control. There isn't even a built-in code editor for its sorta janky implementation of its programming language, Lua. After experimenting with it, it's not too bad, but it definitely trips me up a bit with how you declare objects in the workspace. I will admit, I'm being a bit harsh here when it comes to the creator. It's not like it's the end of the world, there aren't any shortcuts for tool access or anything like that, and from my short-lived experiences with the Polytoria creator, it's not like it crashes frequently or anything like that. I have yet to experience any major issues, but that doesn't get around the fact that the creator program, in its current state, is more on the scuffed side of the spectrum here, and that's coming from the person who's literally a doodle. I think one of the most annoying examples is the fact that when you rename something in the workspace, it doesn't have its name refreshed immediately. Instead, you have to close the workspace and reopen it for the name to change, else your workspace becomes a living nightmare to organize. The other thing that bothers me is that in order to actually use the creator program, you need to go to the create page and click launch creator. Personally, I find that really annoying. I have the program on my computer, I can see that it opens up whenever I double click on the shortcut I put on my desktop. Why does it immediately close and redirect me to the create page? Maybe it's for a moderation reason or some sort of status thing involving the website right now, but it's still rather frustrating considering that it's actually on my solid state drive. Regardless of all of that, even with how flawed the creator program is, even with the server crashes and client connectivity issues and maybe some other things I have yet to encounter, I'd still highly recommend that you try out Polytoria when you can, and if you like it and have the spare cash, do what you can to support the team by purchasing bricks or one of the paid memberships I was talking about earlier. While Polytoria is small right now, at least in comparison to Roblox, it is absolutely bursting with potential. I honestly can't wait to see what Polytoria grows into because it reminds me a lot of what Roblox was like when I was a kid, and it's clear that the current team has a good head on their shoulders if their prioritization of user safety over platform growth is anything to go off of. While they aren't perfect, and Polytoria as a whole definitely needs work put into it to truly shine, I have my faith in their team to make Polytoria the best it can be. And as I mentioned earlier, a lot of what I mentioned will likely be addressed in a massive update that the team's currently working on in the 2.0 update, with that version of the client and creator becoming open source, meaning if you would like to contribute to Polytoria to help it be the best it can be, you can, after 2.0 is released, of course. The team is still hard at work on it at the time of writing, but from what they've shown off so far, it's bound to be great. As for me, whatever happens next, I'll be there to see it, because I think Polytoria has the potential to grow out of Roblox's shadow, and dare I say it, be the next site that's powering imagination. And I sincerely hope that you can join me on the platform, and stick around all the same. 145, 24, 248, 248.